Hi, boys and girls. In this episode, we're going to be continuing our look at fractional numbers. If this time around is to use multiplication and division to compute with fractional numbers. So in our previous episode, we looked at addition and subtraction. Now we're looking at multiplication and division. So they have a game this time around as well. It says, let's play a game. This is a fraction game. In this game, you will be using your knowledge of adding fractions to help you and your friends to beat this game. How to play? Roll one die, go forward that many spaces, and use a paper clip and a pencil to spin a fraction. Add the two fractions together. If your fraction is in its simplest form, you earn 1 point. If it can be reduced, you earn 2 points. Prove your answer to your partner. And here we have the board. Were you able to play the game? Was it fun? Do you remember how to add fractions with different denominators? So today we are going to try multiplying fractions. It is really simple. It's just like multiplying other numbers. Do you remember how to do those? So we have 4 times 12, and 4 twelves would be 48. If you said 48, you are correct. So now let's try these. 1/2 times 2/3. What would you do first? What comes second? Are you able to solve? Let's see. So we would say 1/2 multiplied by 2/3. And what I remember is that we say numerator by numerator and denominator by denominator. So it would be 1 times 2, giving us 2, and then 2 times 3, giving us 6. And then we can reduce because these are both even. So 2 can go into 2 one time and 2 can go into 6 3. So we would end up with 1/3. Now let's go through how to solve multiplying fractions to make sure you understand. Let's follow the steps on the poster above. So we need to work out 2/4 times 3/6. Multiply the numerators first. This is as simple as working out 2 times 3. So 2 times 3, that would give us 6. Next, focus on the denominators. Again, we can just treat this as multiplication problems involving whole numbers. So we'll work out 4 times 6, we'll get 24. Now we can reconstruct our fraction to give our answer as 6 over 24. The last step when multiplying fractions is getting them into their simplest form. In this instance, 6 and 24 have a common factor of 6, so we can divide the whole thing down by 6. Our final answer would be 1/4. So again, 2/4 multiplied by 3/6 is equal to 2/4 times 3/6, which would give us 6 over 24. Find the highest common factor of 6 and 24, which is 6. Then divide the numerator and the denominator by that factor, and we will get 1/4 in its simplest form. All right, so if we wanted to set this out, it would look something like 2/4 multiplied by 3/6 would give us 6 over 24. And then we could say 6 into 6 goes one time, and 6 into 24 goes 4, and we end up with 1/4. Okay? Now, dividing fractions. To divide a fraction by another fraction, turn the division into a multiplication calculation. If we turn the division sign into a multiplication sign, we need to flip the fraction we are dividing by. We keep the first fraction the same. We turn the division sign into a multiplication sign. We flip the fraction we are dividing by. So let's look at this 2/5 divided by 3/5, and it becomes 2/5 multiplied by 3/4. No, I've gone through this already, and this should really be 3/4 here, not 3/5. Okay, so let's set that up. So we would have 2/5 divided by 3/4. Then, as I like to say it, we're going to keep, change, and flip. Okay, we're going to keep our dividend, so 2/5, change our sign from division to multiplication, and flip the divisor. So we get 4/3. 2 fours, 8, 5 threes, 15. So let's continue, and we'll see here it says we can multiply the numerators and denominators separately. So the numerators would get 2 times 4 and we get 8. And for the denominators, 3 times 5 and we get 15. So again, keep, change, and flip. Keep the dividend, change the sign, and flip the divisor. So another way of saying this is that all division problems involving fractions are really multiplication problems in disguise. Again, all division problems involving fractions are really multiplication problems in disguise. Evaluate. Instead of a quarter of an hour, Ellie spent 1/3 of an hour to meet each applicant. How much more time did she spend meeting all the applicants? 2. After the interview, Ellen decided to hire 2 of the applicants and reject the others. Ellen's assistant called back the applicants to tell them the results. She spent 1/30th of an hour calling each applicant and 1/3 of an hour calling the hired applicants. How much time did the assistant spend making these calls? Ethan decides to type up some documents while waiting for the meeting to start. He can type 2 pages every 1/8 of an hour. If the meeting started 3/4 of an hour later than the scheduled time, how many pages can he type before the meeting starts? Ethan is responsible to write the minutes for the meeting. During the meeting, he finished writing 1/6 of the minutes. Before getting off work, he finished another 3/8 of the minutes. How much more of the minutes does Ethan still need to work on? Ellen planned to interview some more applicants for the position in her office. If she scheduled a quarter of an hour to meet each of them, how much time did she schedule for all 6 applicants? These are some very good questions. Please make sure you go through those. So in this episode, we looked at fractional numbers and our focus was on multiplication and division. Now remember, for multiplication, we're just going to multiply numerator by numerator and denominator by denominator and reduce if possible. For dividing fractional numbers, we need to remember that each fractional division problem is a multiplication problem in disguise. You're going to keep the dividend, that's the first fraction, change the sign from division to multiplication, and flip the divisor. And then you multiply like normal. Take care, complete your activities, and we'll see you in the next episode.